This video is going to be very short. Um, I don't know if I talked about it or not, but so I'm on sick leave. It's a medical condition. It's a heart condition, and I don't know. I sometimes just kind of feel like it's not as serious as the doctors try to make it sound. So I thought I would explain my passion behind Black people knowing our medical conditions, and why I say that we all have to start changing the way we eat and everything is because I was a child that had a lot of sick days. So apparently this heart condition I had at birth. And my son has the same. My daughter does not, thank goodness. But they didn't tell me about my son at his birth. They didn't tell me until he was like 7 and he was in the hospital again. So the symptoms of the heart condition, like fainting, I can't do strenuous activities, and that is a question in my mind, because in middle school, I mean, like, listen, in my heart, in my mind, I'm athletic, but in real life, no. No, not at all. Anyway, so I did try my hand playing around with sports in middle school, but high school I got used to going home early, so I was like, nope. See, in middle school I just did it only because my friends were doing it, and they were like, well, just come on, just we can still use the points or whatever. And I'm like track for one, y'all know y'all wrong for that. I'ma just say, all right, because look, I am not a runner. I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it. And now as an adult, because I was told about the diagnosis in high school, and I'll get to that in a second. But in middle school, I didn't know. I thought I was just lazy, and I was okay with that. I was like, no, listen, this hurt. It hurt to run, and I'm not going to do it no more. So I lost every race, and I'm not even sorry. And the thing that makes it worse is, at the time, my best friend was just a Kenyan. She would just run 2 miles and wouldn't even need, she wouldn't even be short of breath. She just how? And she won every race. And I was just like, I'm proud of you. I don't understand why I can't be proud of you from the bleachers. But they wanted me on the team because apparently you get points or whatever. And I was like, first of all, not only do I not feel like getting out here doing this every week with y'all, I'm going to just show up in my little, in my support shirt, the big foam finger or whatever they do at track. I don't know why I got to be down here with y'all for this and lose every race. Come on, man. But whatever. So they got me in 7th grade. 8th grade, I was like, listen, y'all ain't got to be my friend anymore. I don't care. I'll be by myself or y'all make me do this again. And then in 7th grade, I sprayed both my ankles trying to do hurdles. And I'm like, look, this is not me. I'm not cut out for this. All right. Now, volleyball, I can do that. Tennis, great. But basketball, I mean, I just ain't had as an adult, I'm better at it. But I remember in middle school, I just didn't have the interest. My attention span was extremely shorter. So I would throw the ball, I wouldn't even pay attention to know where it hit and study the angles and all of that. I was on to something else way before the ball even got close to the net. It's sad. My attention span, I was not able to pay attention long enough to learn how to play basketball. And get to, and I got to listen to everybody. Oh, that is such a waste of height. Don't worry about it, because volleyball like tall chicks too, so leave me alone, okay? Anyway, so I couldn't do strenuous exercise. And so my childhood before high school, when I found out, I was like, dang, I really am lazy. I'm out of shape, but had no motivation to do it because it hurt. And I didn't, I think back to middle school, and I didn't think ever to say that it hurts. But I do know why. If I had said that, I would not, like, even if it crossed my mind, I still wouldn't have said anything, because I also, as a kid, had asthma. So there were times where I would have to go to the hospital because, see, with my age, they didn't have the nebulizer machines that you could take home. So every time you had an attack, you had to go to the hospital in my childhood. So, I remember times like I was not able to go to school, but wouldn't you know it, these teachers sent like homework packets to the hospital. I'm trying to live. I'm not finna do this homework. I don't need to know how to add if I ain't gonna be here next week. Leave me alone. But I ended up doing it anyway. And I remember in high school, I can't remember what grade it was. One of these award ceremonies at the end of the year, there was this girl who had perfect attendance, 12 years of school, never missed one day. How? Even if I wasn't sick, I just can't. I don't see that happening for me. But okay. Anyway, so in high school, the way I found out, because it angers me that my family knew and didn't say anything, and let me call myself lazy too. You know, that's another reason why I didn't make the cheerleading team either, because I had lost interest in the middle of the child, and that was not okay. My attention span has cost me a lot, but nobody gave me ADHD pills, so gee, I wonder why. And I still made it out, and I still, had a pretty good GPA and got scholarships and stuff, and I ain't have to take ADHD pills. That's why I'm against it for kids, by the way, is because I made it out. I don't understand, but okay. So, if you notice, I do avoid medical stuff. I can't make my mind focus on it long enough. It's an avoidance thing. I'm saying this because my hope is that, like, we as black people, we don't like going to the doctors. It's like the whole thing that wives always say, you have to force your husband to go see a doctor because he's not going to want to. We have our reasons, you know. I mean, they did do the Tuskegee experiment. Was that us or not? Was that real or not? And if it was real, then you need to understand why. And just talk to people. Help them to go. So I finally, when I was 16, I was 11th grade. And so I went to the mall with my friends. I was already tired. Because you know what I hated? You know, like, I was cool when we would sit down in the food court or we was eating, but the whole walking around and not buying nothing, if I could have rented one of them Segway scooters, it probably would have been better. I probably would have wanted to go more, but, you know, I ain't like all the walking. We're going to get in one of these stores and sit down, or we're going to eat or something. But anyway, so we have been walking all day. And then, this is before I was allowed, this is before I had my license. And then, even after I got my license, she still wouldn't let me take the car often, you know, so I, it was sparingly, but I still came up with reasons. I figure if she's gonna, if she has this thing about you can't tell a kid no to everything that they want, if I ask her every day, some days she's gonna say no, even the days where I don't even want the car. So I just ask her anyway, and I get a no, and then I handle it all maturely or whatnot, and it looks better for what I asked for, what I really wanted. That's what I did in childhood. Anyway, so we caught the bus to the mall, and so walking to the bus stop and then walking from the bus stop home, I was tired, but it didn't, I had this thing even in my my entire life. One thing about my personality is I'll just push and push myself just to get to the end, and then I always say I could rest after I finish, right? Yeah, well, this particular day, my body was like, nah, we're going to go and sit it down right here. And wouldn't you know it happened to be in front of a fire station, because the apartments that I grew up in were kind of ducked off at the end of the block. But then at the beginning of the block is a fire station. So they saw me and they asked me if I could make it home. And I told them, I'm looking at my house right there. And so they were like, okay. But they watched me until I got into the apartment complex. And then I had to have a parent that picked an apartment at the back of the complex. So I still had more to go. So anyway, I got there and I just collapsed inside the house. Like, once I got in the door, I just was like, okay. So I remember still not even wanting to go to the doctor that day. I'm like, I go to the doctor enough. Please leave me alone. Not today. I'm just tired. I'll just take a nap. But no, because see, that makes me realize that at that moment she knew exactly what was wrong, and it still didn't tell me. So we go to the fire station. Of course, we had to walk because we didn't have a car. So now I'm required to get up and walk back to the fire station. And I had to get in an ambulance and then go to the hospital. So then they come in and they tell me what the condition is and why. And it explains so much. Like, there's a lot of fainting spells. So the symptoms, there's fainting, there is like lightheadedness, flushing all over your body, fatigue, there's anxiety because you never know where you're going to pass out. And so the thing is, like, I have too many heartbeats. Everybody else in their heart has this thing that regulates the heartbeat, so it can only go above a certain amount. Mine does not have that. So anytime I'm excited, anytime I'm happy, anytime I'm exercising, there's no cap to how many heartbeats I can have in a minute. With that, there's problems with oxygen, there's problems with circulation. It's just like your heart does a whole lot, right? So anyway, I look at her face and then she's sitting there going, yeah, they did tell me that. Really? So they told you this when I was born and you never thought that maybe... So all the times where I was sleepy and you yelled at me, or when I didn't make some athletic program or whatever and you didn't tell me, that could have solved a lot of stuff though. But anyway, it doesn't even matter because I probably wouldn't have told anybody, and I like don't really talk about it to my friends. The only people that know is family, and even then I don't like talking about it. So I'm posting this because hopefully, like, I know that I had never heard of it before they told me. So if there's anybody else that's experiencing these symptoms, first of all, don't yell at your kids. They might actually be sleepy. And two, if you're fainting a lot, it's very possible. Because see, since I didn't know that this even existed, maybe it could be the answer for somebody else. I'm not going to be an advocate or anything because I don't like talking about doctors and stuff when it comes to me. I can talk about doctors for other people, but not me. I don't like it. I don't like having an illness. It's annoying. It gets in the way. What if I wanted to be like, what if I wanted to be on the WNBA, huh? Does anybody think about that? Anyway, with that being said, some days I don't have the energy to do a whole lot. That's also cost me relationships too, because that was a source of contention in the past. How come every time it's time for us to hang out, you're sick? How come you sleep so much? Are you pregnant? Are you on drugs? Really? Black people? That's our first go-to. Anyway, so just in case, even now, I don't, like, there's more planned speech, but I can't focus on it. But what I will say is, the thing that stuck out to me is that I didn't know about it until I collapsed that day. And we see all of these things. And that's another thing. Like, because, see, I'm here in Texas, so it's hot. It's October, and it's 86 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's only getting worse until about, like, 3. And then, so it's hot. That doesn't work well for asthma, and it doesn't work well for heart conditions. I feel like, had I known, I could have been planning for something else to do with my life, to make a a hobby or a career out of something that wouldn't require that. So I do think that we should talk to our kids about their medical concerns. I mean, the only people that I hear as children who get information about their medical concerns is childhood diabetics. What about the other stuff? Why is that so taboo? No one talks about these things. And it's important. It's necessary. So I have good days where I have energy and nothing's, like, I don't know, maybe the temperature and the stars, they all line up in the right combination of I can finally, have an active day. So I do a lot of stuff online. I order things online. I have things delivered. I do a lot of DoorDash if I can't cook that day. And then the days where I do have energy, I feel like taking care of everything. And that's cost me, peace in relationships, significant others, friends, and family. Because for whatever reason, if I have a day where I'm having high energy, I'm supposed to spend it either doing something for somebody else or with them. This one particular instance comes to mind where one of my relatives, I won't say who, decided that it was time for us to go to the mall that day because she wanted to go shopping. I'm just happy she wasn't shopping in my damn closet. So I was gonna go or whatever, but I was sleepy. She had my house at 7:30 on a Saturday. Don't even open till 10. Anyway, so I'm sleepy. I finally get up or whatever. It's like 9:45, and I'm like, you gotta be inside the mall when it open. Like, no one does that. That's square. But nevertheless, so I go, and she has an attitude because I want to stop and get some coffee. Okay, well, I'm gonna sit in the car and finish my damn nap then. So we had to have a whole long argument because she didn't feel like we needed to stop for coffee. I'm not sorry because we stopped for coffee. Because if we didn't, I wasn't going. I was at my house, chilling. And I'm not sorry. But the point of that is I'm tired a lot. I sleep a lot. And it's unpredictable up until this point, unless I can find a pattern or something to figure out why or when it comes so I can plan better. Because I'm a planner. I'm a type A person, and that just is so inconvenient. So anyway, with that being said, another episode of sometimes the person isn't lying to you. I think about how I wonder if some of those relationships would have been saved had I known and been able to tell them, or willing to talk about the subject. I don't know why. Like, I mean, let me just not say I don't know why. I do know that a lot of black people feel like everybody lies to them. I get it. But I'm grown. I ain't got to lie to nobody. Anyway, I get why they would think that I would be. So sometimes the person isn't lying. Sometimes you need to check some things out just to see. Now, I still was able to have a good childhood because, I mean, I was bossy. I'm going to get some stuff I want, and I'm not even sorry. I don't regret it. Y'all did it, so I don't know what you want me to say to you. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this video because I kind of don't like talking about this subject, but I had to just go ahead and do it because it's one of the things on the list that I got to talk about. And hopefully nobody comes up with any weird things, any weird disorders. You go in and you get a clean bill of health. P.S. You know what that's like? Every time you go to the doctor and they absolutely come back and they're like, yep, well, it's exactly what we thought it was. Why can I never have, like, just the benefit of the doubt? Apparently, this isn't even a common occurrence. This is not something that lots of people have and it just might be dormant or whatever. This is some 5% of the population type. And then there's two types, right? There's atrial and ventricular. V-fib is worse. Guess which one that I have to deal with, right? Like all things. So I've had to have this treated before, and right now I'm hoping that I don't have to do it all over again. But apparently, wouldn't you know it, the location of it is a problem. Yeah. So with that, like, I mean, I'm wrapping my brain around adding this into my identity and my life decisions. And the moral of this video is have a full, complete examination. Family history of heart concerns is important. So, like, a lot of people in my family towards the end have died of cancer. At least I skipped that one. So I had to deal with the heart one. That's better than cancer. That's how I'm looking at this. Anyway, I don't know if this is common knowledge or not, but if you watch this video, you can't say I never told you. Bye.